Hey, and welcome back to episode 2 of Hero Power. That's
Dos.
right. That's right. We didn't learn our lesson last week, and we are back again. So, this week, last week we talked Secret Paladin with you guys, and apparently some of you really enjoyed it, and we appreciate all the feedback we got this week. Zeroshio, I know you got probably more feedback than Versika or I did directly, so why don't you tell us who we need to thank?
Well, really, it's one big blanket thank. The Legend of the Innkeeper Facebook group, made up of all the patrons of Legend of the Innkeeper. They've just been nothing but wonderful with feedback, both positive and constructive. I wouldn't say negative at all. Letting us know where sound was wrong and video and so forth and so on, and how the formats can change, and that they like certain formats and what we did. So I'm really happy with the feedback we've gotten, and it's only going to make us grow and get better.
Absolutely. Okay, so that being said, we did get a viewer email last week, and we are going to cover that before we move on with this week's show. So, the email said, "Hi guys, I really enjoyed your first show. As a player who always looks for new decks and ideas for existing decks, I have a question. What do you think of Murloc Knight in Secret Paladin? I personally really like it and would really like to hear your thoughts. Best regards, Nightfall." Alright, so Zeroshio, I know you and I have talked a bit this week. I know you're as big a fan of this card as I am, so I'm going to let you go first this time. Go ahead.
First, I'm going to clarify and say I'm a bigger fan than you are. I'm a bigger fan than anybody. I think I have preached this card to death with my friends, the Legend of the Innkeeper podcast, my buddy Nightfall, who wrote us in the email. I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards. When it first came out, everybody thought, "Oh, Paladin Murlocs. They're just trying to do another archetype like they did with Shaman." No, this card is perfect for just a tempo setup mid-range Paladin. It just gives you free value every turn you use your hero power, and there's a high probability chance you're going to get an increased value just on the first turn you use it. If you get the Murloc War Leader, your Knight is now a 5/5. It's gonna be harder to kill. If you get another Murloc Knight, now they got to get rid of both of them before your next turn. It's just great value. I love this card.
All right, Versika, your thoughts?
I couldn't agree more. Especially when you can protect it. If you can put it behind something or you can keep it around, you just get so much value. And I mean, you have to clear it. It's one of those cards that when you're playing against it, you just have to get rid of it. If you don't, you'll get overwhelmed, and it'll happen fast. I think it's a great addition.
Yeah, and I went back and looked at our deck list from last week, and you could easily remove the Spectral Knight to make room for the Murloc Knight. Again, I enjoy this card a lot. I think it's one of the most fun cards out of Grand Tournament, and it's unique compared to some of the other cards in that set.
Yeah, I think it comes down to what style of paladin do you really want to play? And like our secret paladin deck was a little more aggressive than some of the more meta conscious secret paladins out there. One of the advantages you have of playing it in an ultra aggressive secret paladin deck like ours is that you won't have that crash. You won't have that, "I've used all of my stuff, now I don't have anything to play." If you can hold it and you can let them burn all that removal early, you can play that and it almost sustain a mid to late game with just that card, and it gives you a chance to kind of rebuild and stock up your hand And at the same time, you're forcing them to get rid of something that chances are they've already wasted removal on some of your earlier cards. It makes it that much harder to get rid of. I think it fits in all of them.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm going to say that it is arguably the most powerful and meta affecting card out of TGT. The only one I may say is equal or greater is Darnassus Aspirant, which is we're gonna talk about tonight. It's in Druid.
Yeah, and I'm personally not as big a fan of that card, and we'll get into that. But so there you go, Nightfall. 3 out of 3. We all love the Murloc Knot. I think it has a home in just about any Paladin deck you could build. Control Paladin, Aggro Paladin, Secret Paladin. It's there. I think it's really good.
And I play a lot of Paladin. I have 3 Paladin decks, and it's in all 3 Paladin decks that I run.
Well, I don't play a lot of Paladin, but I do have a Paladin control deck that I really like, and I did find a spot for it in the control deck.
So there you go. All right. Thanks for the email, Nightfall. And guys, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com, and we will respond to your emails on the next show. So please, if you've got questions, send them in. We'll be glad to answer them for you. All right. So moving along into our news this week. Wasn't a whole lot of big news that came out this week, not like last week, but this week we did get a big patch for Hearthstone, and one of the big things was, and there's been some debate about this, but Hearthstone has been localized for Japanese now, meaning they could have another subsection inside the Asian territory as far as gameplay goes.
Yeah, and what this really means is that instead of the Japanese players playing on another region that's close by, the Oceanic, they are actually getting their own region with voiceovers and special, card emotes and whatnot. So this isn't so much really going to affect and break down the tournament scene too much. I mean, there are already Japanese players that are entering the tournament scene. What this is doing is just a whole nother platform and acceptance that Hearthstone's getting into. Japan is a really hard region to get into, especially with anything console or anything computer based.
It's a console-driven market.
It's a console and mobile-driven market, and I think Hearthstone being mobile capable is what's really opened up the market in Japan. So I would expect to see more mobile-driven changes so that it's more effective in the Japan market. That's just my prediction.
I would agree with that, and if I have one piece of advice for him, make sure you update at home before you take your mobile Hearthstone with you, or otherwise you won't get to play.
Yeah.
While you're out.
Yeah, it's unless you've got a secure Wi-Fi, it's a bear to download and update. So.
Well, it won't even let me. It won't even let me do it on my cellular network. It's like, this is too big. Find a Wi-Fi. I'm like, thanks. Appreciate
the mobile
that.
market in Japan is so huge that their wireless over there supports it. So I don't know if they'll have the same problems that we will.
Oh, I was totally just. I was just kidding.
Locally, yeah.
Yeah. No, I was actually really excited. I'm one of the few people that I feel like I really like the change they made to Warsong Commander. So I was excited to get in there today and see how much it mixed the meta up.
That moves us into our next section now. It's everybody get out of here. Patron.
I didn't get the memo.
Patron. We talked about it last week. So with the patch, they nerfed Warsong Commander, which a lot of people were kind of upset about. I mean, it's a basic card. It's not like you had to craft it or anything. You're giving it just for playing warrior. But the the nerf takes it from reading minions with 3 or less now have charge to reading minions with charge now get +1 attack. So it pretty much makes a lot of the meta patron decks unviable now, and not saying that's a bad thing.
Well,
So
the change makes it a less playable raid leader.
yeah,
I mean, raid leader gives all minions +1, all of your minions +1, and this only gives charge minions. So this is not going to be playable. It has lowered warrior even further down the charts in arena. Warrior's in a bad spot right now. You're probably still going to see it in the tournament scene, specifically for control warrior, especially with the new armor up warrior with using True Heart. But other than that, you're not going to see any warrior. You're probably going to see a lot of people try to break out and make a new archetype, new meta for warrior, but it's not going to happen.
Well, but I think too, this shows that maybe warrior wasn't in as good a spot as we thought it was when one nerf to one core card that, I mean, you don't even get it out of packs. One nerf to that card completely tears the structure of warrior down to where people are saying that it's only got one build. I think that just goes to show that maybe warrior was being like maybe we were trying to fix it with band-aids when really we should be looking at some root problems as to why there wasn't more warrior viable builds. Like, you don't see a mid-range warrior. You don't really see a tempo warrior.
Yeah.
You see one or two styles of control warrior, and then you had the patron warrior.
And honestly,
which really wasn't even viable until patron came out as part of the Blackrock Mountain. So, I mean, it kind of throws you back to where we were before that adventure came out. So it just goes to show that really changes to warrior didn't really impact warrior as far as its overall presence in the meta.
well, maybe it wasn't quite patron warrior and it was Warsong Commander warrior. Because if you look at the deck, I mean, if you didn't get Warsong Commander out, you didn't win. You need Warsong Commander with a combination of either patron or Frothing Berserker with your whirlwind effects. But a lot of games, especially in the tournament scene, they did not get their Warsong Commanders out of their draw engine. They lost. They just couldn't win.
Yeah. Well, the meta right now is too aggressive. It's too aggressive for a deck to wait, especially when you have something that takes time to develop, like the Grim Patron without Warsong Commander. You have to be able to lay it and attack and abuse it in the one turn to really make an impact, or it's just not effective.
I'm really curious to see, so close to BlizzCon, how this affects the tournament scene, because you had some top tier decks like Dragon Priest that did some show in the tournament scene, but not a lot, and Secret Paladin, which didn't hardly show up at all in the tournament scene. That pretty much the reason they didn't was because of Patron Warrior. Yeah. Now that Patron Warrior's gone, you're going to see those decks be viable again, and you're also going to see things like your more aggro intensive deck, your face hunters, possibly.
I love the eye roll.
Possibly Shaman is going to come back, because now Shaman, with all their small attack creatures or minions, will be able to be viable because they're not going to have patrons just bouncing off of them and multiplying by the dozen. Okay. So now they can set up that bloodlust that Shaman really wants to do.
And I agree with you there. In fact, I think you're going to see the reemergence of two cards in particular. And I think to hit on your point, first of all, I think Secret Paladin is going to take the place of Patron Warrior. I think you're going to see a huge surge in people playing Secret Paladin. It's got the right tempo. It takes the same kind of mentality, I think, to set up. You play in a similar fashion, And the deck doesn't play in a similar fashion, but like the mindset you have to play, the strategies you employ, I think fit well and transition well from Grim Patron Warrior over into Secret Paladin. And I think you're going to see the reemergence of two cards. I think you're going to see Sledge Belcher make a huge return because one of the big reasons why I feel like he left was because of Patron Warrior. And then the other thing, like you said, now that people can play the lower cost minions, your spells like Bloodlust are going to come back. I think you're going to start seeing more Force of Nature making it back into Druid, like in all the Druid decks. So I think
more of a control Druid.
Right. I think you're going to start seeing Lotheb back a little bit more to stave off those late game high impact spells.
Because Lotheb really didn't stop Patron Warrior. A good time Death Bite, or by that time, a turn 6 Whirlwind effect didn't hurt anybody.
Right, and most of the time people were just running him into Thaurissan anyway. In fact, I think Emperor Thaurissan took the place of Lotheb. But I think now that you got to worry about those smaller minions getting buffed towards the end of your games, I think you're going to see Lotheb start to make a comeback.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Face Hunter. Oh.
Please. You love it. You love it.
For the love of Pete, somebody do something about Face Hunter. I'm so sick of it.
Well, they did. It was Patron Warrior.
I know. Give me something else. Come on, throw me a bone here.
All right.
I think Shaman is going to be a good counter to Face Hunter now that it will be viable again. There's good board clear, good early board clear. I understand the overload mechanic, but at that point, you just need to clear the board.
Yeah, I play Shaman. That's the class I play the most of. I don't have a problem with Face Hunter as far as like winning percentage against Face Hunter. I just don't like playing against it because it's there for a while. It was all that was out there. It gets so boring to play against the same deck over and over. It's a lot like it's the same fatigue people had when they were playing Miracle Rogue. It's like, how many times can you see this deck in one day? You know,
I don't know if we'll see Face Hunter too much. And I'll get into that a little bit more when we get into our deck discussion this week.
Cool.
Omega says he has a fever and the only cure is Face Hunter.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so...
It's a pretty bad fever. You may need to see a doctor.
I was going to say, somebody put him out of his misery.
All right, moving on.
We love you. We love you, Omega. Thanks for being in the chat room.
Absolutely.
So, StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void. What does this have to do with Hearthstone, you might ask?
Nothing.
Yes.
But it does. If you pre-order the digital deluxe version of StarCraft Legacy of the Void, it includes a special StarCraft card back that is only available through that promotion. And I know a lot of people out there are big card back collectors. Zerotio. And it's one of those things that, only way to get it right now, so.
Yeah.
And it should be the only way to get it at all. They're real good about this whole collector's thing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Hearthstone got a little bit of the shaft there, though, because Heroes players, they got Artanis for free and got him 2 weeks early as part of their...
These digital deluxes are always like that. I wouldn't say that Hearthstone got the shaft because StarCraft just gets a portrait.
That was okay.
So, and that's the game you're playing. That's the game you're pre-ordering, and all you get is a portrait.
They get a bigger shaft.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tavern Brawl this week. It's called Who's the Boss Now? So if you haven't checked out Tavern Brawl yet, it went live today, and basically you get a random boss hero power for any deck you create. You build a deck, choose a class, build a deck, but you don't get your class's hero power. It's instead replaced by a boss hero power, which makes for some pretty interesting interactions. Versika, we'll start with you this time. What are your thoughts on the way this, the way the Tavern Brawls are mixing it up here?
It's interesting. First of all, I like Tavern Brawl quite a bit. I really like having a different theme or objective each week, something where I don't always have to take a meta deck into it to be competitive. That being said, I played this week's Tavern Brawl right before we started, actually, and I lost because I got the Omnitron power, and when I hit the power to change out, I got the Tron that made everything cost less, and so I got double Force of Nature, double Savage Roared. It was a pretty cool way to die, but it was like,
Oh
ouch.
man.
Yeah, that sounds like it hurt.
Yeah, there's no coming back from that.
Zeroshio, what are your thoughts?
I liked it. It's very chaotic. The randomonium one last week was very chaotic. I'm seeing a theme of them just throwing these chaotic things going around. I like Tavern Brawl. I think they're coming up with really cool ideas. I like that they're playing around with these hero powers that were in the adventure modes, because there may be some announcements for new adventure modes coming up. So it's nice that maybe we'll get more of these. Maybe we'll see this same one later on, but they'll throw in another half a dozen hero powers that we've never seen before. So I kind of like how these can be expanded on, and you might see a repeat of it, but it's a little different. I don't know if you guys have heard about some data mining they found. They data mined some information about a co-op Tavern Brawl.
Really?
Like a two-headed giant from Magic.
Yeah, some of the command lines are that if either of you are defeated, then you're both defeated.
That's interesting.
I like that.
So
that could be a lot of fun.
And I'm sure this is something that may be announced at BlizzCon, or one that we'll have just after BlizzCon. But if they're bringing in technology for the two-headed giant type of co-op play in Tavern Brawl, you might see it in, say, an adventure mode. Kind of like raids in World of Warcraft.
Great, so I won't have to play Patrick's adventure modes to beat his bosses.
Speaking of which, you still haven't finished Nefarian for me. What the hell, man?
I'm slacking, I
Uh,
know.
Okay. Richard in chat said Maiden of the Lake is the go-to card for this Tavern Brawl, and I kind of have to agree with him. It's, this Tavern Brawl just seems like it's made to exploit that card. And
Oh yeah.
just throw the Inspire cards in there, Maiden of the Lake, and Frost Giants, and you win. You're good. That's
Yeah,
fine.
because you can use the hero power more than once a turn, which was pretty cool. I
Whenever
like
you
that.
use your hero power, it resets to the new one. So if you still have mana, you can use it again and then again. And then I've used it 3 or 4 times in a turn to get my Frost Giants down. Because what's great is if you have Maiden of the Lake out, 1 mana gives you the hero power and reduces the cost of the Frost Giant by 1 mana. So you just keep burning it down until it costs 0.
Yeah. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up our news section. So this week we are going to be talking about the Mid-Range Druid deck, which is pretty prevalent in the meta right now. There are a couple of different types of Druid decks out there, but I feel like that this one is probably the most played. In fact, I actually have the deck list of the deck we're going to be playing for you in the second half of the show, and I'll pull it up here on screen so you guys can take a look at it with us.
Hey, you can hide behind that.
I can. Well, by the way.
Other side.
But
I don't know, Patrick. I don't think you can hide behind that. Not anymore, at least.
So the point of this deck is sort of like a lot of your other Druid decks, is to prolong the game and then combo out either Force of Nature with Savage Roar, or have a good board control and then Savage Roar and destroy your opponent. You're looking to do probably 15 to 22 points of damage in one turn with this deck at certain times. So this deck mostly consists of, and the version we're running is a little tweaked from what you will probably see, but we like to give it our own little hero power twist. So the deck consists of 2 Innervates, 1 Living Root, which, if you guys don't know, is 1 to cast, deal 2 damage, or summon 2 1/1 saplings, 2 Wild Growths, 2 Wraths, 1 Darnassus Aspirant, and this is where you'll see variant in a lot of these decks, because a lot of decks will run 2. You've got 2 Savage Roars, 2 Shades of Naxxramas, 2 Swaps, 2 Keeper of the Grove, 2 Piloted Shredder, 2 Savage Combatant. Again, some mid-range only run 1. You got 2 Azure Drakes, 2 Druid of the Claw, Lotheb, 2 Force of Nature, 2 Ancient Allure, and Dr. Boom. So, from my personal perspective, I dropped 1 Darnassus Aspirant for the Living Roots, just because I like Darnassus Aspirant, but I feel like it's a little overkill to have 2 in the deck with the Wild Growth ramp and the Innervate ramp, and Living Root is so versatile. 1 cast to deal 2 damage. That kills jugglers, that kills, there's just so many targets for that. Or, if you're needing, you don't have a target, you can summon 2 1/1s. So I mean, there's good versatility, I feel, in that card. The other card is Savage Combatant. A lot of decks only run 1. Personally, this is probably my favorite Druid card in Hearthstone right now. It's for those who may be unfamiliar with it, it is a Grand Tournament. It's out of the Grand Tournament set, and it's 4 to cast. He's a 5/4, and whenever has Inspire, give your hero +2 attack. So anytime you use the Druid's hero power, you then get 3 attack and 1 armor. So I really like this card because it allows you to pick off things like Piloted Shredders, for instance. So I run 2 in this deck. Zeroshio, why don't you give us your thoughts on the Mid-Range Druid, and then we'll let Versika have a shot.
I love this mid-range Druid deck. As a matter of fact, last season I made it to rank 2 using this mid-range Druid deck. Slightly different. Actually, the only difference is I had 2 Darnassus Aspirants and 1 Savage Combatant. But I like this version. And I got Golden Druid last season with this deck. The thing about Darnassus Aspirant is it's nice to have 2 of them in a deck, because first, it baits removal, and second, it gives you an early ramp. But if you're going to run 2 Wraths, you're always going to favor a Wrath. If you're running 2 Wild Growths, you're always going to favor a Wild Growth over Darnassus Aspirant on turn 2, just because you want to get that ramp into 4 mana on turn 3, because you really don't have that many turn 3 plays. Shade of Naxxramas on turn 3 is really a tempo play to build up for an early Savage Roar, if you have that Savage Roar early.
But honestly, if you can get Savage Roar, or not Savage Roar, if you can get Shade of Naxxramas out even earlier, then it's even better.
Turn 1 Shade of Naxxramas is great. A lot of people like to build him up to he's like a 6/6, 7/7 before they do anything, but it trades really well. Come turn 3, he's now a 4/4. So that's going to take out any other turn 3 drops and still stay alive. So your Shade of Naxxramas in this more mid-rangey is designed to be more of a 2, sometimes a 3 for 1. And a lot of these cards specifically are designed to be in the deck to have 2 or 3 other cards trade for them. Specifically, Savage Combatant. You bring him out if you can get him out innervated on turn 2, it's great. If not, you want to put him on turn 6, use your hero power to kill something. They're usually going to have to take another 2 cards to kill the Savage Combatant, or maybe 1. If they use 1, you're still 2 for 1 with it. So it's really, it's all about tempo, gaining board control, and then getting that value Savage Roar or Force of Nature Savage Roar combo.
All right, Versika, your thoughts?
All right, I'll be quick because we've gone over a little bit. Basically, I've been playing a version of this deck since we agreed that this is what we were going to do. So I took yours, and I removed the 2 Azure Drakes and replaced the 2 Azure Drakes with Haunted Creepers. And then I actually removed the Living Roots, and I put in a Harvest Golem. Just for a little bit of early game in case I don't get the ramp, and I actually haven't lost yet. So
Awesome.
I've gone 4 ranks, and other than doing my dailies, this is all I've been playing, and I've really not even been challenged. So it's a solid deck.
Awesome.
And to your point, with this version of the mid-range, you really want to get that ramp. If you don't get the ramp, it is an uphill struggle. You have to get that early advantage in both card advantage and mana advantage, or you're not going to get a low win rate by any chance. I think I usually sit right around 67% with this deck, which is good on the ladder.
But patience is key. You have to make good plays, and if you're patient and you're choosy about when you activate what you need to activate and when you play what you need to play, it's good stuff. And like you, I make sure to start using my shade about the turn it gets to 4/4, and then just make sure you trade and realize that you're not always going to get something great out of your piloted shredder. So be careful about how you trade it and when you trade it, because you could always get something that ends up messing you up.
And honestly, you usually don't want to trade for your piloted shredder. The reason being is you want them to trade, so then they have to clear whatever drops out of it the same turn because they're afraid of Savage Roar.
Right.
You want to keep them afraid of Savage Roar the whole game, and you're going to play it differently based on what you're playing against. Some games, I will pop out Living Roots with 2/1/1s on turn 1 just to kind of threaten some early damage with the Savage Roar. And also, don't be afraid to use Force of Nature or Savage Roar separately. They don't have to be used in conjunction with each other.
Yeah, and we're going to show you some of that here in just a second. So, guys, if you are joining us on Twitch or on YouTube, please stay tuned. The live portion of our portion of our show is coming up. If you are listening to us via the audio podcast at this time, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we will see you all again next week.
Woohoo! Let's go. I'm ready.
All right, guys. So those of you still with us on Twitch and YouTube, we are going to play a couple games with that mid-range Druid Paladin we were just discussing, and we're going to walk you through. I'm going to drive again this week, and Zeroshio and Versika will be assisting me with our plays and commentating on matchups as we go.
Shaman, probably not what we wanted to see.
Well,
actually...
That's not great.
No, I think... What do you think, James? I would throw them both back, both of the Drakes.
I would throw both Drakes back, and I would throw 1 Wild Growth back. You do not need 2 in your opening hand, and we have the coin, so a turn 2 Wild Growth is going to put us in a good spot.
Yep.
All right. Throwing them back. Let's see what we get. Oh somebody didn't shuffle this deck.
Wow. That is not a starting hand you want to see, but it's not the worst.
So, coin aspirant here?
Against Shaman, I wouldn't, because they usually either get a really quick start that we're going to want that ramp later, or they're going to be real slow as well. So I'd just pass.
Passing the turn.
And on turn 2, usually you're going to Wild Growth over Darnassus Aspirant unless they put a threat we really want to remove.
And that's
Haunted Creeper is not something we want to worry about removing right away.
No.
So yeah, just wild growth.
All right, wild growthing and passing the turn.
And the reason we did that is because if you darn ass this aspirant, we have a chance to go 4 mana in turn 3. But if he gets rid of it, we're back at 3 mana. We have nothing really worth 3 mana to do.
And this is why you don't waste like the wrath on the spectral or the haunted creeper. You want to make sure that you save it for the things like the flame tongue totem, because that is definitely your play here.
Oh yeah, yeah, wrath the flame tongue, and then throw out the aspirant. And if he doesn't clear the aspirant, we may get an early boom.
All right.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a way to clear this aspirant, we're gonna have a boom this next turn.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Great. And we're even setting ourselves up for a good line for swipe coming up.
Yep.
Because you usually want to swipe right after you pop that haunted creeper.
All right, coin boom it is.
Yep.
If
It's sort of a
boom
no-brainer
can be
here.
green, that's what you mean. That was horrible. I gotta find another. That's
All right, so go to the face.
yeah,
Face.
I'd face it. Shaman doesn't have that much healing, even with the addition of the TGT healing cards. They're usually not being used.
It's hex or bust here. He's gonna have
Yeah.
to clear.
And honestly, putting a hex on Dr. Boom is not going to be the worst thing for us.
No. And if he had had a hex, he would have already used it.
Wow.
That was not.
Interesting use of an earth shot.
He is
Yeah.
afraid of an early Savage Roar. See, this is
Yeah.
where it can get dangerous. If he doesn't clear anything and just chose to go face, we could double Savage Roar and do a lot of damage. This is great.
Yeah. So this looks like a good swap target, don't you think?
Yeah, I would swipe the. Actually, yeah.
I would swipe
the-
face. I would actually swipe face and then hero power down the other half of that taunt totem,
Yep.
and then use the boom to hit the
2/1
the
that's
remaining-
left over.
yeah.
Yep.
That's going to be more damage because that bomb is going to go to face.
Yep.
You want to hero power down the totem because the totem won't kill the bomb. That's the main reason.
And I would imagine if he doesn't concede
And
this
4
turn,
damage. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
He is digging.
Druid of the Claw here or Azure Drake?
No, I would Azure Drake to draw a card. In my opinion, what do you think, Alex?
I would. You got him on the ropes. I would 4/4 Druid.
Charge.
But next turn we could
Yeah.
charge him and Savage Roar.
Right,
That's-
but
that's
if you do this, go ahead and charge him now.
That's
Hit him
11
with
damage.
the hero power, and then
Oh,
he's gonna have to taunt to survive. Then regardless of what you draw,
He's
you're
dead to
gonna
living
win.
roots. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even a taunt.
Yeah.
You're right. He's dead to living roots. As a matter of fact, he's dead to living roots now. Good
Yes, he
eye,
is.
Patrick. Good eye. Wow. He's focusing so much on doing that minion damage when we had lethal. I would kill him. Kill him. Gotta love that 10-second delay.
yeah. Actually, I keep forgetting that living roots can go to face.
Yeah.
It's one of the advantages, and one of the reasons why it's a good reason as to why you would have it in your deck to begin with, because Shaman doesn't have a lot of that, or no, Druid doesn't have a lot of that.
Yeah, Nightfall had a good comment too. Double Roar would have done it.
Yeah, we had
Well,
multiple
we had so
ways
many
for
ways.
lethal. Yeah,
That's why whenever I play this deck, I always say I'm mathing it up because there's so much math involved in figuring out the combos and the damage, and there's a lot of math involved. Not quite a Patron Warrior math, but there's a lot of math.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of have a style about my play.
Yeah, a little
Uh,
more conservative.
Yeah, but I guess it's why I'm as good at my job as I am. I'm a planner. That's what I do. So, it's like, well, for some reason this doesn't work, or for some reason whatever, I'm not screwed next turn.
All right. Looks like we are probably throwing this all back. Or do
I
you think
would,
we
if
should?
we had the coin, I probably would keep a Savage Combatant since we have 2 in the deck.
Yeah, I
But
would
Since we're
agree.
going
without
first.
the coin, yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't keep anything. Because even a turn 3 Savage Combatant's not bad. You obviously would hope for a Innervate, so you could either turn 1 or turn 2 it.
Doesn't look like we're going to get it.
And so
No.
far, every time I've turned 1 Savage Combatant, I've got an instant concede.
But Wrath was not a bad draw.
No. Especially against Mage, because if it is Mech Mage, and it is,
Yep.
you really don't want those Mech Warbers or Snow Chuggers
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
would
we're going to
wrath that
wrath the Snow Chugger
to
here.
death.
Yep.
Because it takes away so much of your damage with your hero power that
Yep.
Snow Chugger does. That's not a bad drop. It's
No.
not bad for us. I would probably just shade.
Shade
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
'cause
not
you
too
wanna-
much of a threat yet.
Right, and you want to make sure you get your shade out before they get into flame strike. You want to get it out of flame strike range. Hmm.
Yeah, this is kind of a tempo mage.
Yep.
I don't know.
It could just be the way his draws have fallen. I'm actually thinking Shredder here. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I would go Shredder. It's obviously you don't want to turn 4 Savage Combatant,
No.
and you're not going to get as much value out of the Living Roots at 4 mana.
Yeah, I was thinking the only other option there was hero power to kill the shield and then living root to kill the
Either that, or
Taunt.
you could have Hero Power Wild Growth, but you're not ramping into anything. If you had a Doctor Boom in your hand, I might consider that, but
Right.
especially since you have a Savage Roar, Doctor Boom, then follow up with Savage Roar if they don't clear it.
Wow.
And I mean, the fact that he was willing to trade the mana worm into your Shredder, I
Oh
think
yeah,
we
And we-
got great value out of that Shredder.
we got a great value. Captain's Parrot. Oh, he did some work there.
All right.
So at this point, I think I'm taking out the Tinker with the Living Roots.
Either way you slice it, whether you take out the Anoyotron and then it's the same way either way. I'd go ahead and get rid of the
Tinker.
Tinkerer, yeah. And at this point, since we have an Ancient Allure, you might want to just
Should we wild growth?
Wild Growth
hero
and then-
power.
Hero Power. I'd even
Yeah.
knock that Anoyotron by 1 and leave your Shade Stealth.
Absolutely. One more turn on the Shade.
The Shade and Exramus came out of was it the Adventure?
It was the first adventure.
Yeah, the
The
Nexramus.
The
adventure.
Naxxramas Adventure, yeah. Which you can buy the wings with gold, or you can buy them with money. Sorry, that was a question asked by Omega.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I appreciate Omega coming in the chat room. I love seeing return visitors and people loving our show.
Okay, I think I'm gonna plop down the Ancient here and draw the 2 cards.
And do we want to go ahead and clear? That's not a good clear with the Shade, in my opinion.
I don't think so either. That's why I was saying go ahead and do the lure and draw the 2. Hope that we draw into like a swipe or
Yeah, that'd be great.
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeper's good. All right, so do we want to just pass here?
Yeah.
Just pass.
I hate that because at this point we're probably only going to get one turn out of the shade, so we're not going to get a lot of value out of him.
That's a good split. I'll take that.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, that's got to go away.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we can kill it with the keeper.
That wasn't really what I wanted to use the keeper for, though.
Yeah. But I mean, I would have dealt with the pilot of shredder, so it's the same.
There we
our
go.
Swap.
There we go.
So swap the mage, the blast mage.
If we swipe the blast mage, we can hero power down the
Whirling.
Whirling Zap-O-Matic.
Yep.
The question is, do we go ahead and clear that Silvermoon Guardian?
I think I would at this point because
It allows him to ping the shade down, though. Or do we just go face and make him make the trade?
I would go face and make him make the trade.
Because either he's going to Flame Strike for 1 minion, or he's going to trade in and use his hero power, and he's going to have to run off 5 mana.
Or he'll polymorph.
Or he'll polymorph. Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, here we go.
This is a odd tempo. Oh, this is great. Oh, come on. Yes.
Nice.
That's what we wanted to see. He had to trade it after all.
Trade Prince Gallywix.
What?
Can't say I expected that.
Interesting.
That's real interesting. That puts us in we
Probably should silence that, don't you think?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
silence it. Honest, I'd silence them both. They're
Yeah.
both get silenced, or we could silence one and then charge the Druid of the Claw into the Flame Waker.
I was gonna say we're at 15.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking I'm silencing.
If we silence the Trade Prince so he doesn't get any more spells, and then we charge the Druid of the Claw into the Flame Waker, all we have to deal with is Trade Prince.
Yeah,
And
that's
he only
what
has one card in his hand.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I agree.
It is an odd play. You wouldn't expect that from a mage.
Well, and that's actually what I really like about this section of the ladder is you get a lot of cards that you just don't expect to see.
Oh yeah. Well, obviously that Trade Prince was not received in his deck.
Right.
It's a rogue card, but wow, I've not seen this. It's like a combo of that tempo and mech mage. I kind of like it.
Alright, so we've got the 4/1 that could kill the 3/3 Soot Spewer, or we could go face, but we're at 10.
I'm
Let's draw a card first.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking Savage Combatant, Savage Roar.
We can't fit a hero power in there though.
No, but the Savage Roar will get rid of the Trade Prince, and that puts us at 7, and he's got one card in his hand.
Yeah.
That gives
good
us
call.
threats on the board.
So Savage Roar. That puts us low though.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to trade. Go ahead and take out Trade Prince. He's got to go,
And
and then
your face.
we'll go face with the 2. We take him out with the and face.
And then face. Okay.
Yep.
Still leaves 3 damage on the board. That's not terrible, I guess.
Yeah.
Fireball kills us.
I mean, we were gonna be dead like that anyway, though.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Here's a
Yep.
fireball. Yeah, they got us some tough. That Trade Prince really threw us for. That's the thing about Unstable Portal. You never know what you're gonna get.
I think this also goes to show that this deck is also it has a little bit more draw dependency than
Yes.
some of the others. If you don't have a great opening hand, if you don't have a serviceable opening hand, you're going to struggle.
And see, that's why the Azure Drakes are in this version, is because that card draw is needed before you get to that ancient lore turn. Sometimes, I mean, if you're drawing into Azure Drake, you're not drawing into what you need.
Yeah,
That's true.
it came a little bit earlier.
This is going to be the fun match. I actually like to keep Keeper of the Grove if we have the coin, specifically for stopping that whole combo of Knife Juggler and then Muster for Battle.
Yep.
So I would ditch. I'd ditch everything but the Keeper. I mean, there's
Ouch.
for keeping.
Not a much better draw, though.
No.
Set us up for combo.
Yep.
We can get into ramp. That won't be bad. Yep, Secret Paladin. Pass. Coin Hero Power is not as good as they say it is.
No.
I don't know if chat noticed Frozen Z is no longer here. I have fixed my video issues.
No Frozen Z hype this week.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, I'm a hero power, but I'm not attacking. I'm just putting that armor up.
If I'd attack face. Well, actually, if you clear this creature, nothing's gonna pop unless it's what is it, Redemption?
Yeah.
Well, that
possibly
or
Noble
the
Sacrifice.
Yeah, Noble Sacrifice.
But the thing is if it's Avenge, we don't want that to stay out there next turn.
That's true. Go ahead.
And if it is Noble Sacrifice and he draws into Avenge, that's terrible to have those two together.
Yeah.
It is
Oh yeah,
the
Redemption.
redemption.
We'd rather it on that than something like Shielded Minibot,
Yeah.
Knife Juggler, any of those early 2-3 drops. And I only made that call because I play a lot of Paladin. That's my other class. One of my other classes I'm golden with.
Well, I think that goes to another point that, I love Shaman. That's my favorite class to play.
Yeah.
But I play the other meta decks, and I play with other classes more so to learn them so that I'm a better Shaman player against them.
So do we want to coin Shredder here?
I would coin a Shredder
Yeah.
because he's probably going to use his weapon and the Silverhand Recruit on it. So
Right.
only thing I can think of, and then he's going to have to find a way to deal with whatever pops out of it.
Which hopefully it's not a Captain's Parrot. Hey, guess what? That's getting silence next turn.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. That is a great silence. And see, this is great because that 1/3 is gonna take 2 charges of that weapon, or it's gonna get killed by the recruit. So really, in a sense, 3 for 1ing.
And I'm
that.
attacking face so that he
Let
gets
him
the
clear that
buff.
because now that gets the buff. Yep. And see how he plays this is really going to tell us what he has in his hand. Well, other than Consecration.
Yeah, there's Consecrate.
Better to see it now.
You damn it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love seeing early Consecrations.
Yeah, because now, this turn, I am without a doubt throwing out my Shade.
Shade Hero Power? Or Shade Wild Growth?
I think...
Going into turn 6, you might see the Mysterious Challenger. You might want to shade Hero Power so that you don't have another creature out there with the Mysterious Challenger.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. You could have done either or there.
Yeah, either way worked. But
If we lose by 1, you chose wrong.
Well, I like clearing that Silverhand Recruit. That way, if it is Mysterious Challenger, what?
That is a Reckless Rocketeer.
So this person has made the Secret Paladin deck, and they didn't have Mysterious Challenger, so they just substituted them with Reckless Rocketeer. That sounds good.
Okay, so I think this is where I'm a little bit different Druid player than a lot. Here, I would actually play the Force of Nature, run one of them into the rocket, run the other 2 into the face, and actually start using my Shade now.
That's not a bad play. Another option is the Savage Combatant.
Savage Combatant and
And
Hero
then
Power.
Hero Power down the 5/2. You're not going to see a bunch of big bursts come out of Paladin. So we could take the 5 damage. It puts us a 14, or it'll be 15. It won't hurt us too bad.
Whatever you want to do. Your call, Avantes.
Okay, I think I like the Savage Combatant play.
And see, that gives us another creature on the board he has to deal with. We have a 5/4 and a 4/4 going in next turn if he doesn't clear one of them.
I would have still hit him with the shade.
I probably would have.
Probably should have attacked with
Yeah,
the shade.
probably. I mean, it's not that terrible of a deal. And that's one of the reasons there, because I mean, we can do it now. It's not a big deal. Those shades can get popped by those booms pretty easily.
Alright, so what do we want to do here?
I don't really want to take any more face damage. 7 damage to the face would be too much.
Do we want to swap and run the shade into Boom?
Let's see, what do we have?
Well, I think if you swipe now, you run the risk of killing your shade.
So run the shade in first and then
Well,
swap?
yeah, if you're going to
Yeah.
swipe, you'll want to run into the shade first.
I would go ahead and attack with Savage Combatant first.
Well,
'Cause you're
we
gonna
probably...
run-
Yeah.
Okay. So now, but see, yeah. I was
Now
gonna
you
say,
want to swipe it. You want to make sure you get your attacks off first before you pop those bots, just in case it kills them. Say, I didn't kill them. Great.
so I think I'm going to go ahead and Hero Power and smack
if you
it for another
if
3.
you Wild Growth though, and this is just a thought, if you Wild Growth, you're setting up for lethal next turn. You still have lethal in 2 turns, but if you Wild Growth, that puts you at 9 mana next turn, and if you didn't clear the Savage Combatant, that would be lethal. Just food for thought.
Yeah, but see
Right,
now
right.
he's got to put something out. He's got to put something out to block the charge that we're going to hit him with this turn. Or this is I guess where I differ. See, at this point I'm putting out my Druid and I'm charging for 4, and I'm going to go ahead. At this point I would probably go ahead and Wild Growth after I charge for 4, so that next turn I'm playing with all of my mana.
Getting a little low, but it's not terrible. We're in combo range now. The Wild
That
Growth
was
there won't matter.
yeah, that was the whole point, was to get to combo range.
It's really, a couple different ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
See, now he has to clear that because he's afraid of additional damage. Now, Noble Sacrifice is a problem there.
Yep.
And the taunt.
And the taunt.
So this changes things up a little bit. I think at this point I'm probably going to. I think I would probably Loatheb Piloted Shredder.
Was that still that still has some lethal, doesn't he?
No, he's got 9 on the board right now.
He'd be too that's too short.
He's too short of lethal.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we thinking? Lore for the 5, and then Hero Power?
What about combo to clear and do quite a decent amount of face damage?
Okay, that works.
I
So
go
now
ahead and run one of those treants to the 2/3 to see if Noble Sacrifice. And it is. That's fine.
So take care of that, take out the taunt, and then take out the 4/2.
You take out the 4/2, and then we can either go to face or clear the 2/2 bot. Either way.
Yeah, I think I'm clearing the 2/2.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same variable damage.
Right. Omega asks, what are good substitutes if you don't have Loatheb or Shades?
Loatheb isn't necessarily it doesn't have to be in the deck. You could put any other big body. Loatheb just helps you counter some of those spell-driven decks. As for Shades, I like Druid of the Flame because it's 3 mana, 2/5, or 5/2, whichever way you decide to go. But 2/5 usually gets 2 for 1.
So what do we want to do here? He's got lethal on the board. We've got 12 mana to play with this turn. Do we want an Ancient of Lore for 5 health and
Yeah.
Loatheb?
Yep.
I would Ancient Lore for 5 health, and then Loatheb. And that, yeah. He's 3 short of lethal now. He would have already had it if he had it in his hand.
He could have drawn into a Blessing of Kings.
He can. A Blessing of Kings, the sword. Wow, the taunts. All the taunts.
So many taunts.
He just hates Druid. 6 mana for a hand of protection. That is value. He's tempoed us out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that can happen with this. If you don't get the tempo before them, then this happens.
All right, so I guess our
We're not-
only option here is
We're not having
combatant.
as much luck with this deck as we did with the Secret Paladin.
That's true.
I think he's pretty much got lethal.
Yep, he does. I don't think there's anything we can really do about it here.
Raid Leader. Bringing out the Raid Leader tech.
All right. We really could have used another swap there.
We could have used another swipe. We could have used another Force of Nature, just a Force of Nature naked
Yeah.
alone to clear some of that stuff out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different other options.
All right, so you say one more? I know we're running a little
we
bit
could do
over.
one more. Well,
Yeah, sure.
we're still playing with the times, guys. We'd like to settle somewhere around an hour and a half for our show. If you have any suggestions on that, feel free to email them to us at our email, which is heropower@gmail.com.
Hero Power
Podcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
Yes.
I
that's
feel
right.
we ran a little over with the news section, so I
Yeah.
want to give the deck enough time to really get out there so people
Oh, I
can
agree. We had a good first game.
see.
Definitely had
Yep,
a good first game.
We did. All right, so we've got the Innervate in our hand. We've got the Keeper of the Grove. Do we keep this, or do we pitch the Druid, or do we pitch the Keeper? What do you guys think?
I would honestly just keep the Innervate. We're facing Paladin, and without the coin, I wouldn't want to turn 2 Keeper of the Grove. You usually want that for turn 3. So without the
Yeah.
coin, I'd get rid of the Keeper and Druid and keep the Innervate.
Yep. So that turned out to
turn
be
1 shade.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
That's not bad at all. And against this matchup, you may want to end up using that shade a little early to clear some of the early threats, especially if he pops out something like a Knife Juggler.
There you go.
I mean, a lot of people like to hang on to that, or you can
Living
just
Roots.
roots it.
Or we could top deck Living Roots.
That works too. Top deck Living Roots, leave that shade hidden.
Are you gonna leave him hidden?
I would.
Okay.
I mean,
See,
there's-
this is where I
Well-
start doing work with him.
And that's how you beat Secret Paladin with Mid-Range Druid. You just turn 1 X-Rabbis, turn 2 Living Roots, and they just concede. That's
Yeah.
All right, let's
One more.
fire it up one more time.
yeah. Let's just do one more.
We're 2-2, so this is the tiebreaker.
Yeah, that one did take long enough. I'd
But
like to settle. I'd like to settle about an hour 15 for our time. That's not bad.
And yeah,
I
it may
can
end up that
agree
we're
with that,
starting
yeah.
earlier since some of us get up at 3 a.m. to go to work.
Ooh, wow. Yeah. And again, listeners, if you have any feedback on our times, again, this is our second episode. If there's anything that you, we've tried to avoid a lot of the other Hearthstone podcasts and live streams, so that we're not conflicting too much. But
There you go,
if
Patrick.
you have any suggestions, by all means. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, draw into an Innervate. That's not an innervate.
Nope, not an innervate.
Against Hunter, I'm always tempted to turn 1 Living Roots into 2/1/1s.
Just for the trade, the early
Just
trade.
for the trade, like Worgen
Like,
Infiltrator right
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we passed that, so I would just hero power, go to face.
Yeah.
And that turns that 2 damage into 1 damage, really. This is Face Hunter.
Yes, it is.
And since we don't have as many of the big blockers and taunts, this can be a dicey. You really need your ramp.
I think I'm just going to go ahead and shade here.
Yeah,
only
I'd like
taking
to clear
3.
that Worgen Infiltrator, but I think you're right. I think just go ahead, value Shade. That can 2 for 1 next turn. Would be better. And we hope we top deck into a swipe.
Yeah, that would be
We
nice.
top deck into a swipe. That's beautiful. I love Argent Horse Rider. I don't think he gets as much play.
There's an innervate.
We could, I mean,
We could combatant and hero power.
we could combatant, innervate, and hero power. But what are we going to hit? We going to go face and just race him?
We could innervate Azure Drake and Living Roots.
Could.
I like
But
that.
if we're gonna innervate Azure Drake Living Roots, I would rather put 2/1/1s out.
Well, but here's the thing. Right now, if we get rid of that Haunted Creeper, he doesn't have a beast, does he?
That's true.
No, he does not if we get rid of
Okay.
the
See,
creeper.
to me, I'm getting rid of that Creeper so he doesn't get Hound Mastered.
Yeah, but it's an extra point of damage.
It's up to you, but
yeah,
you got to make a
that's-
decision.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. That's not a bad choice. Do we go ahead and clear the Worgen with the Shade?
I would.
Yeah, clear the Worgen with the Shade.
Or turn around and talk to somebody and not do anything.
That works. That's an option.
Yeah, I was distracted. I
And
apologize.
that's a viable option. That's I have chosen to do that on a couple occasions. So that's
Yeah.
wife aggro. It's all right. We all get it,
Yeah, it was wife aggro, and I couldn't feign death.
except me because I have the most wonderful wife in the world, and she's in the chat room. So that's weird because he didn't throw out an explosive trap. Oh, okay, here comes the explosive trap.
Yeah.
Okay, this means we just clear everything with our creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to. How do we want to approach this?
I clear a 1/1 with Azure Drake. We could go ahead and clear the other 1/1 with the Shade. And then I would probably Loatheb.
Yeah.
That way he can't drop down a beast and get a kill command on us early. Or quick shots. Or I like to see him with a lower hand count right now, but
Yeah.
he's been conservative, which is surprising for a Face Hunter. At this point, we need to be real conservative about our face damage.
Yes.
Oh. It's an odd trade. Kill off the only thing that gets killed by the explosive trap.
All right. Do we want to keep her here and deal 2 damage?
I would, if we keep her, I would deal 2 damage to the Wolf Rider, clear the Argent Horse Rider, and then I'd go ahead and pop that don't keep her after you clear.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you don't take the 2 damage on
So
him.
pop it with
Naxxramas into the 2/1. Oh no, Loatheb into the 2/1. I'm sorry. Loatheb into the 2/1. Naxxramas to face.
we want to
Keep her the 3/1.
gotcha.
And then you can go Hero Power to face.
All right.
The only
This
thing
puts
is,
us 20 damage with Savage Roar.
yep, he's got to clear, or he's going to be in it. Well,
Oh, here
where
we
he
go.
could do that
Here we go. And
because he's.
he's hoping all these will go to face, and he just goes to face. Well, damage is spreading pretty good for us.
Yeah.
Or it was.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Even if we do the Keeper of the
Even if we
Lore,
clear.
it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, there's no way.
So we could clear, but he's still got 5. Yeah.
He's got 5 in
The
his
only
hand.
option we
have
can
to
do
heal.
is heal.
Yeah.
And then
And
we.
that's a
10.
GG.
That is GG.
Thank him for his skillful play of Face Hunter, and which actually he played it pretty conservative. He didn't play it like a lot of Face Hunters do, where they put something on the board
Yeah.
and then they say thank you, then they put something on the board, then they say well met, then they put something else on the board and say well played.
They never get that far with me. I squelch them. Most face hunters, I squelch right off the bat.
Turn 1 coin squelch.
Yep.
That'd be a great name for a podcast, coin squelch. So anybody out there wanting to do a new podcast, just send all your
Hey, wait, no. He didn't clear.
No, he didn't.
That's not lethal though, because we can't
No.
do.
We
Dang.
can't. We can't kill the. Let's see, 5,
What?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we don't have enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're short.
Still, though, that surprises me.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 mana short.
He may be toying with us. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. Die the great way. Do the 1 damage to the
Leopardome.
yeah. Die with style.
That's style points.
Oh,
Right.
look at that. Could have drawn
So-
another card.
That's the deck.
Yeah, this is mid range. So like I said, it's pretty. It's not an easy deck to play because there is a lot going on, but like you saw, there are multiple ways to finish off an opponent. So it's a really good deck, and it's really popular right now in meta. In fact, I want to say Druid is like 19% of all decks played in the meta right now.
Yeah, well, it's in tournament play. It's just under 20%, where Patron Warrior is just over 20%. So I believe with Patron Warrior pretty much going away, in tournament play, you're going to see a rise of this
Druid.
mid-range druid, and maybe some more of the classic combo ramp druid. And the main reason is a lot of these cards are going to come out. A lot of these decks are going to come out because Patron's gone. Get countered pretty well by druid.
It just doesn't handle wipe aggro very well.
It does not handle Wi-Fi aggro well at all. So, all right, guys. Well, that'll do it for this week. Thank you again for joining us. We will be back again next Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, and we'll let you guys know probably first of next week what deck we're going to run, and we hope to see you all then. I'm Avantes. You guys want to say
I was waiting on James. He's next down the list.
Am I? Well, I'm Zeroshio. I want to say thank you to the Legend of the Innkeeper community for getting the word out and giving great suggestions for our show. You can follow us on Twitter, and we'll probably be shouting out on Twitter or possibly some of the Facebook groups. Get an idea what we're going to talk about, what class we're going to talk about next week. But thank you for watching. Anything from you?
Oh, yeah. Guys, thanks for tuning in. And if there's a deck that you want to see played, a meta deck that you're curious about, let us know. Let us know right after the show. Give us a chance to put it together and see what we can do with it. And we'll be happy to run it on the show and give you our tips and strategies on it. Just fire it off. We're open to anything. We're picking decks now that we're seeing on the ladder a lot. But if you've got a favorite or you've got a class that you want to see played, so on and so forth, just give us a shout. We'll be happy to take a look at it. So.
Absolutely, and you can either hit us up on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, or like I said earlier, shoot us an email, HeroPowerPodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys, and until next week, good gaming.